Hey everybody, today's episode is with my friend and brother, the great Nduduzo Makhathini. Nduduzo is an amazing composer, healer and pianist. We talked about his new album, Modes of Communication, Zulu culture, spirituality, parallel universes, colours and anything our brains could think of. Nduduzo is a beautiful soul and I thank him for his time and his knowledge. And I hope everyone enjoys the episode. So go out and listen to his music because it's brilliant and it's out now on Blue Note. Oh, here we go. I can hear you.
Yeah, I'm just, I wanted to make sure. So I went from the internal mics and put on a proper microphone and see.
I don't know what's going on. It's something to do with my box, which is recording on it. I don't know. We got there.
That's the main thing. Always.
And it's 9 o'clock exactly.
Man, you see magic right there. And also, now we're on a proper microphone and maybe even better.
Yeah,
maybe
there we
better.
go.
Maybe
There you
even
go.
better.
Yeah, it's better. That's the way. Hey, that's the way.
Yeah, man.
How are you?
I'm okay, bro. How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah.
Crazy times, but it's good.
Man, crazy times. So many lessons that come with the crazy times.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been like really trying to listen for the lessons.
Yep. Yeah.
So like in many ways it's like I've realized as well that so many of the things that I thought I could not do without, I can actually do without. But also I've realized that there are things that I really can't do without. So it's like whatever you need it more in these moments. And what you don't need, you really don't want to waste any energy with that.
It's true. I think we're kind of, as humans, we're not supposed to have so much technology. It's kind of clouding our brains.
I think in a sense, and again, like it's really in how are we thinking about technology? Because when I put out my record earlier this year, I was thinking about this idea of ritual technology in a sense that like some of the connections that our ancestors used to communicate were wireless and they were accurate and they were, so, like it's different registers of technology. It's like if humans can understand themselves as technology, not technology as an external, situation, then then it's better than like, the craziness that we're in now, I think.
I know. Man, I love your album. It's
Thank
so
you,
good.
bro.
It's so good. It's so, I had to buy it, I have to support, man.
Oh, bro, it means
Have to
so
do it.
much,
Oh, of
man.
course, man. Anything I like, I buy. So if I like
Oh,
something, I'm buying it.
man.
It's
So you
brilliant,
find
man.
you found it on Amazon?
Oh, Amazon. That's the
Yeah.
way. Amazon of everything. They're making money.
Man, these guys.
I know, man. It's such a beautiful record. I know people are saying it's a jazz record, and it is jazz, but
Yeah,
I think there's a lot more to it than jazz.
I think so too.
I don't think like Shine is very bluesy. It's got very
Yeah,
bluesy kind of stuff
yeah,
in it,
of course.
and
It's super bluesy, yeah.
yeah. So it's like anything when you're a musician or a composer, people always want to label you and go, it's a
Of
jazz
course,
record. And you're
of
like,
course.
it is, but it isn't.
Yeah, that's very true, man. It's like, and also again, it's like, jazz comes much later,
Mm-hmm.
but I've been thinking a lot about like how a lot of the folk music in South Africa that is pre-arrival of jazz music
Mm-hmm.
is already, it's got a level of jazziness in it, if I may. It's like these things were already inside the sound. So
Yeah.
there's a very strange way of looking at it that almost suggests that like the jazziness is the essence of all African musics, in a sense that all of it emerges from a place of breaking into,
Yeah.
a place of, we broke into song. So it's like that that sense of not knowing entirely what's going to happen
Yeah,
is
yeah, yeah.
is the truth about African music, but also is that meditativeness, and perhaps that explains like the keenness for many South Africans to draw more from the 60s 70s period of modal music,
Mm-hmm.
because there's a kind of uh, dance that is in that kind of meditativeness that is already like natural for most of us here. So,
Yeah.
so there's a sense in which even the term jazz becomes problematic if it's seen as something that arrives later. But if I prefer the term something jazzy, or
Yeah.
a jazziness, or because in that way we're arguing for something of essence. We're arguing for something that originates from a place.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, the transatlantic narrative explains to us the essence and how the sound came about.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it was sounded out in the diaspora as a sound that is removed from the resonator, in a sense that is sounded out from a level of disparity. But it's about like how that sound becomes in itself the essence. And if we think about the notion of an echo, we realize that much later then we start in the continent drawing from the diaspora. So we start thinking of the people that were taken as slaves in a very harsh way. We start thinking of them as messengers that have had to keep with them the very essence of who we are,
Mm-hmm.
because it was the only thing they had. And there's a tendency again of being in the continent and thinking, well, I have everything, I'm in the continent. Whereas it's not true. We've not realized the erosion of the settler colonial, and that whole process, and how it somehow brings an illusion to being in a place whereas everything in that place is no longer the way it used to be. So you are in a different place, but geographically located where you think it's your land.
Yeah. Yeah.
So all of these things, they play into the sound. So I feel that like there's an exchange. So the notion of an echo, the notion of an overtone, is really a way in which I think about this sound as like, we're reminding each other constantly. The diaspora and the continent are in a dialogue of reminding what is really left of the things that are really the things that define us. So, and how do those things sound
Mm-hmm.
when they played in a musical way? So like really, then the compartments they get dissolved because we are more interested in why, who, when,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
opposed to that.
Exactly. And as humans, we always have this thing of if we can label something, we can know what it is. And in
Yeah.
music genres is always under that thing. If we label it, then we know what it is, and instead of going, it's music, it's just music.
And also, I mean, it's worth noting that like the labeling itself was towards creating a product, creating
Hmm.
something that could be consumed. So
Exactly.
to put anything inside the shop and sell it, you have to say it's something. You know
That
what I
is,
mean?
that's very
Otherwise, like,
true.
you know,
That's very true.
so sometimes it, the thing of compartments and genres is not as serious as we think it is.
Hmm.
It's just a way that things should be organized in order to sell them, in order to,
Hmm.
to group them, you know. But otherwise, I think there's something that transcends all of those limitations. And
Yeah.
I think that's the truth and the essence of sound, as speaking to our inner being directly without going through our brain.
Yeah.
It's just like
Well,
you
that's
feel it.
that's what I loved about your music when I heard it. It's really spiritual sounding. It's
Yeah.
really like cosmic. I
Oh
kind of
man, that's the word.
definitely because
Yeah.
when I heard Beneath the Earth, that
Oh
song the
man.
first time I heard this, that is beautiful. It sounded like water to me, and
Oh man.
correct me if I'm wrong, but from what I read about history of in Africa many long time ago. I'm probably gonna get this wrong, but the Christianity, when it came, it's God in the sky, and
Yeah,
African is God in the soil.
of
So
course.
that okay,
Bro, that's you are nailing it. And that's
okay,
really the message. And that's really the message in the song. It's like, it's one thing to know that a God exists, but it's another thing to know where they are.
I get you.
So yeah, beneath the earth is really like a way of thinking about our connections with the past, our connections with the ancestors, as a way into the future.
I get you.
And in a sense, you need a language to speak to the ancestors. You need a language to speak to the gods. And in a sense, like, so not having or being deprived that language is a kind of exile. So in that song, I play a lot with the idea of where the gods are. And if you don't know where they are, then you are exiled to a certain extent because you do not have a code to get there, you
Oh, I
know.
get you.
But also in the same sense, our gods are exiled from us as well. If we've ignored like certain cultures, especially around rituals, it's like music as a ritual, then it's a way of invoking those gods, you know?
I get you. And water is a very kind of healing thing, and it's going into the soil, so it all kind of goes back onto itself.
Brother, the element of water is so central in this album. There's a song called Ndau, and Indau is really about that. It's like the gods that live underneath water, and
Mm-hmm.
and in a lot of African, like, you know um beginning of the earth stories, like you find this reference to the soil, this reference to water quite strongly. I mean, even in the Yoruba cultures, Oshun, and you find this sense of water, but also water as a healing tool, isn't it? Like as something that brings a kind of cleansing, you
Okay.
know.
So that
Yeah.
word, that would be like ingoma. That's healing.
Oh man. You know so much about
I
this
don't know.
already.
No, I don't say
Why
those.
did you interview me, man?
Hey, you got to tell me, man. You got to tell me. You got to tell me, bro.
Oh man. Yeah, that's precisely it, man. So Ingoma is really like this bridging of here and elsewhere. What does it, because in African cosmology and ontologies, we believe that like we are here and elsewhere simultaneously.
Okay.
So even like if you look at words like, when they say like a dream, like the word dream means to fly or flight
Ah.
in my language. It's
Oh.
called ipupo, which means to fly. And then deep sleep is called ubutongo.
Oh, cool.
And if you translate that, it means to be one with your ancestors.
Oh, that's cool.
So in essence, it's like, we use our dreams as a way of being with them, and we
Ah.
use rituals as ways of bringing them to us.
Oh, wow.
In
It's beautiful.
so there's like this like really deep exchange, and it's worth noting that the word you just used, ngoma, while it means dance, it also means song, it also means healing, it also means divination, it also means the drum. So if you look at it, so the whole idea of compartmentalizing stuff is in many ways a new idea, because for us we don't even know that there's a difference between singing and dancing and being in a ritual and healing. We use one word. So, I
Oh.
mean, it problematizes further the idea of music as just one stream. For us, it's music, dance, healing,
Yeah.
ritual. So,
That's
yeah. So,
cool.
so, so the compartments are really problematic in a African way of thinking, because it sees a wholeness. Everything is one thing, you know.
Ah, that's cool. It's like it's all a stream, isn't it? Life almost.
It's a stream, man. it's that flow, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And
yeah.
the language on your record, is that Zulu?
Yes, yes.
Okay. Zulu
Most of
means
it is
heaven.
Zulu, brother. Yeah, there we go. So like, you know, that's another story because like, you know, all the words in my language are based on a historical happening.
Okay.
So there's a lot of like astrology, you know, that is in the language already. Like people understood the stars. We have names for every star.
Wow.
We have, you know, like indigenous names for all of these things. We have indigenous names for planets that
Wow.
that are pre the colonial period, pre any kind of quote unquote research in a sense, like in a Western
Wow.
sense. So in a way, then the Amazulu are believed to have really come from the sky. They
Ah.
landed from the sky. But you know, there are so many other histories, like you know, that locate the Kemets. We are a branch of the Kemets. We came. One of our leaders was Mnguni, who came from Egypt. But again, like we realized that like some of the oldest pyramids are in South Africa.
Wow.
The oldest stone calendar in the world is in South Africa.
Wow.
So that tells us something. And the stone calendar is organized in a way that like it worked with the moon and the sun.
That's
So
beautiful.
how did these people know all of
I
that? This is
know.
like
It's
thousands and thousands of years ago.
it's crazy. It's so even your album cover, the symbols on it are very Egyptian, I thought. I could be
Exactly, they
wrong.
are. No, they are. They are, you know, it's like you know the oldest trace of who we are and where we come from, you know, has been recorded as being in Egypt,
Hmm.
but we realize that there's so much in South Africa too, so much in Ethiopia. So there is a sense in which that which is left needs to be a part of us going forward to ensure that our grandkids at least get to know the bits that we know,
Yeah.
and to make sure that they also formulate good questions, because it's sometimes not so much about finding, but it's about having a good question that keeps you on the journey, you
Yeah.
know. So
Yeah.
so like you know, I'm really excited about inquiry. I'm really excited about hinting things that people could be thinking about, hinting things that people could ask, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you believe much in stuff to do with simulated universes or anything of that concept?
That there's universes where,
Well, that we could be in a simulated universe.
yeah, well, I think I believe the notion in a way. I
Hmm.
believe the notion, but I think more about parallel universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
In a sense that like already from this belief of the ancestors being here with us, it's like there is a way in which elsewhere is here,
I get
that
you.
we're living with elsewhere. But when we go on a ritual or when we go on a chant or when we play the drum, it's it's the ritual helps us to put on different lens that helps us
Hmm.
to see both. But you see, because you know, somehow Umvelingangi or God was intentional about all his creation. So he doesn't allow us to be there for too long. So that's why, like, after a ritual, it's like you see so much, and then all of a sudden you're back on planet Earth. So it's like, it's the construct, because it's necessary for you to know that you need something to take you there, but you can't live there. Now, when you die, for instance, we have something called the ontotriadic nature of being. It's basically suggesting that like we're living in a cyclical thing where there's the living dead, which is the ancestors. But so many scholars have argued that we need to call them the living dead because even beyond your body, you continue to live. Because
I get
an
you.
ancestor word suggests that is you're gone,
Uh huh.
and
Uh
then
huh.
the wants to be born. So this triadic thing is like that cycle that we go into until we have fulfilled everything, because what keeps us coming is purpose, you know.
I get
But
you.
then there is greater purpose of being one with the cosmos, you know, where you one with the wind, and I hope for that someday. I think I've been coming here many times.
Really? What was the last time? What were you here the last time?
You're a bad guy. So you know, you remember Sandra?
Oh
He,
God, yeah.
yeah, man. So I think it's kind of like for me, I don't really know when was the last time, but like some of the things I feel like I've not been taught in this life, I've not learned in this life. Sometimes I remember a song from man. I ask all my friends, "Do you know this song?"
Really?
No, everyone says no. Like I remember a song from elsewhere.
Really?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And sometimes the language doesn't make sense here, so I have to transpose the language because I just start
Ah,
saying things. On my phone, I have like a lot of voice notes when I wake up and just sing. And then when I listen, I'm like, man, this language is probably from elsewhere for sure.
yeah,
So,
yeah.
but there are things, symbols that tell us that we're not here for the first time.
Mm,
When you meet someone and you just instantly feel a connection. It's like, I remember your soul, so to speak. It's
mm,
like
mm.
there's something in us that the mind cannot get. And every time we try to collapse it to the mind and interpret, we fail.
Yeah,
you know
yeah.
so
That's
so
that.
that's why, yeah.
That's why atheism. I never understand atheism because
Yeah,
to be an atheist is quite arrogant because you're saying,
yeah.
"Oh, I know the answers."
There's
Like,
no
yeah,
Yeah, exactly. There is no mystical dimension.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
always
kind of
open.
worked out.
Yeah, exactly. Who knows? You have to be open about everything. There could be, there couldn't be. So it all depends on what you believe.
Yeah, man. And I think like, this mysticalness is the nature of the universe and beyond. It has to be somehow mystical. We can't have all the answers. And like I say, when all is fulfilled, we'll dissolve into nothingness. Because the reason why we have a body is because we have to inquire, we have to find things out. We need the brain, we need all of that. But at a deeper level, really, all of
Hmm.
these things are unnecessary. The body
Uh-huh.
is unnecessary at a deeper level.
And in Zulu culture, is there many things to do with healing with regard to mental illness?
Yeah, like most of the healers actually, they it's believed that like if you have any kind of like mental illness,
Yeah,
um,
that's me.
it's believed that oh no,
I
it's
do.
believed that like it's believed that like the because everything that is dysfunctional
Hmm.
in the Zulu context is believed to have been dysfunctional in the ancestry realm first. That's why for
Okay.
every single thing that happens, if you're in an accident or if bad things are happening to you, they say you must consult the ancestors. So in a way, this kind of parallel existence, things happen elsewhere before they happen here. So
Uh,
staying in contact, in touch with your ancestors is creating that balance so that
uh,
so we see mental illness as a lack of balance
mm,
between yourself and the ones that look after you, so to speak.
okay.
So people with those kind of problems are normally taken to a healer, and the healer throws the bones, and the symbols of the throwing of the bones is aligning elsewhere and here. And normally people regain their mind, and they fine
Wow.
after that. So it's
Wow.
like it's technology at a deeper level. It's
Yeah.
like, we have to we have to like connect these algorithms of elsewhere and
Yeah, man. Uh, and is a lot of people still practicing those old methods in South Africa, or is it
yeah,
quite small?
yeah, it's getting smaller, but it's not small. It's getting smaller than. So what had happened was with the coming of Christianity, obviously the way that Christianity was presented was in many ways going against what people had known before. So what it meant was that like you cannot be in between. You either go for Christianity
Okay.
or not go for Christianity. But something interesting then started happening at the beginning of the 1900s, where uh, Shembe, he started a church called the Shembe Church,
Okay.
where he was looking into what would it mean to be in Christianity, situated in a particular geographical politics and politics of place, politics of knowing, but while you're citing the Bible. So what
Uh-huh.
ended up happening is then the Zionist church came, which was like now looking at a hybrid kind of situation where people were going to church and praying to God and Christ. Meanwhile, they were practicing their rituals and speaking to their ancestors and doing all the animal slaughtering and stuff like that.
Okay.
So in
Uh,
a sense, it was like, there is a way of being in between these two worlds. So I think maybe we should be thankful to that because the glimpse of what we know now is a result of the resistance as well, of saying we need to incorporate this.
yeah.
We can't just, so that's really the story here. But we see as part of like, now like people are questioning like knowledge,
Yeah.
like what does it mean, like epistemology, what does it mean to know in another way? People are coming with the idea of a plurality. It's
Uh-huh.
like, well, the idea of a university was brought as this form of knowledge which you must conform to, but there's a kind of plural, there are multiple knowledge systems. So then they started this decolonization of the curriculum campaigns in South Africa.
Right.
But I think there's a way in which that is happening in religion too, where people are questioning, the Christianity as something that they struggle to see themselves inside. So this
Exactly.
idea of like I have to see myself first in everything that you tell me, because Christianity was already creating a layer to colonialism, which was becoming not only that you are invisible, but even your ways, your religious beliefs are also invisible. And then we see people questioning that now. So it's playing
Right.
into the music as well, where people are feeling it's necessary to compose a jazz song in isiXhosa or in isiZulu or in isiSotho or iSpedi. It's important that like these languages, because they inform a way of being in the world, they inform a cosmology. So there's a way in which like some of those things are coming back even stronger now, even though they're moving from a disparity of knowledge once again, because the grandparents that knew these things are no longer here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we're basing it, sometimes we find things in songs. It's like there is a genre in KwaZulu that I'm interested in called Amahubo. These are like praise songs.
Okay.
There's a lot of information there if we start thinking of those songs as kind of text, that as literature, you know. So I go into those sonics and to study what is being said, but what is being said about things that are no longer here, and how can we draw it from a song? If I can't find it in a book, how can I get it from a proverb? That's the kind of thinking that I'm, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's funny because um when music is such an odd thing because people always, they'll go, what do you listen to? Is it this and this? And sometimes when I'm doing music, the music won't inspire me. It's like I'll read something or I'll look at a cloud or something,
Exactly.
just these things that people go, they expect you to go, oh, well, it's the Beatles inspired me or something. Well, they do, obviously. But I mean, it's never as simple as just music. It's always something.
Okay, man, for sure. And like if you think about African music even deeper, because all of it is defined by its context. You see what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Because remember, here, our ancestors never just used to sing a song. there is a song for the rain. There is a song for when a child is born. So every song was context based. So
Ah,
you could not have a song unless you have an event.
right. Okay,
And
that's
as a
interesting.
result, in some cultures in West Africa, there are songs that are only sung once in every 7 year cycle because they are speaking to a particular god that is only consulted once in that period. So that
Okay.
kind of song you cannot harm, you cannot transcribe, you cannot write it down. You'll only hear it once in 7 years. So there is
Wow.
a kind of deliberateness about songs such that when songs got commercial, people felt a need to compose music.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in essence, people were composing themselves into songs that were existing in space. People used to just gather, and this gathering is a way of composing themselves, and then a song will break. Like I was saying earlier on, it's about breaking into song as opposed to thinking that you are bringing a song. You are actually bringing yourself into a song.
So it's like you're improvising within yourself.
Exactly, man. It's like if we were to think of it in the same way that Kit Jarrett thinks about
Oh, Kichar
the
is so good.
music of the spheres, yeah. So he's got this thing of like subjective and objective sounds
Mm-hmm.
in a sense that like sounds don't rely on us. Sounds are constantly happening, but people rely on sounds in order to sight and bring that into sonic manifestation. So I believe that in many ways with African music, because sometimes we get to a ritual, a ceremony, and there are no songs, but like as soon as like someone finishes speaking, then someone just does something as a response to that. So there is a way in which all of it is interlinked.
That's
And the next
beautiful.
thing, someone comes with a counter line and the improvisation happens. And after 30 minutes, it's no longer the same song.
That's
You
cool.
see?
That's cool. And also,
And that's what jazz does.
yeah, and I think what some people kind of miss within music is silence is a beautiful thing within music. It's between the notes. The silence between the notes has so much
Yep.
impact that connects to the next note.
Bro, that's powerful, man. It's and that's like what I've been thinking about throughout this lockdown is like because silence, I think, in many ways relates to stillness.
Exactly. Exactly.
So for me, it's been like, how do you find the slightest movement within stillness? And like, what is the sound of silence? You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's like because silence is not necessarily quiet.
No.
you know, it's not, and it's not dead. It's not, it's so in the silence, sometimes there's more music than in the sound.
Exactly.
And I,
Exactly.
I mean, the other day we were celebrating Monk. How about that? Like
Oh,
Thelonious Monk
amazing.
was the master of playing silence.
Hmm.
And, man, he would stand up and start dancing, and there will be no notes, but like he's felt. And I hear him a lot when he's not playing as well.
Yeah.
But even how he composed his songs, there was a deeper awareness of space and how silence actually is a mother to sound.
That's it. That's it exactly.
Because everything leads back to silence, isn't it?
Yeah.
When we play, it leads back to silence.
Hmm.
Before we play, we're going into silence.
Hmm.
So there's a way in which like silence is constantly there as a canvas.
Yeah.
And we paint whatever we want to paint, but
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah.
If you were to take it away, whatever we painted, there will be the canvas is still there. So
Yeah, it's like notes. Silence are notes within itself because if
exactly.
the more silence you add to before a note or after a note, it will affect the piece drastically,
Drastically, man.
you know?
It would make it more meaningful. Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And
And the more you are aware of it,
yeah,
oof,
when you're aware of it, you can even play into it even better because you're aware of how to manipulate it,
yep, yep.
you know? Yeah, man.
Oh man, I must hear you play, man. I love how you're thinking about the sound.
We'll have to collaborate, man. We have to collaborate.
Man, I think so.
That'd be brilliant. Actually, it was fun. It was,
Feelings, bro.
yeah. Actually, I had a talk with a woman the other day. Do you know what synesthesia is?
Man, I started listening. So interesting what you guys were talking about. I didn't finish it, but like when you sent it,
Yeah,
I checked it out.
it's all to do with colors. It's all to do with colors.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so I kind of when
I
I do
listened to
music.
that. Yeah,
Oh, cool, bro. You
yeah,
know, I could see that in your music. It's very
yeah,
colorful in a lot of ways. You
yeah,
know,
yeah.
judging from someone like me who's
Sure.
to do with colors, and uh, it has this very kind of roundness to it, if that makes any
Oh
sense.
man. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I feel you, man.
Mm-hmm.
I feel you. It's like, man, if you were to come to South Africa and check out the Bandebele people or even the Zulu people, like you would see that like the sense of colors is
Mm-hmm.
quite strong. It's like
Mm-hmm.
there's a way in which like even architecture is informed by color. It's
Ah,
I mean even like African prints. I mean everything that we
yes,
put on is like you know so there's a strong relationship between color and sound
very much, very
in a
much.
sense that like also even when we're colorful but it's still very organized like
Mm-hmm.
you know like people in Ghana they would wear stuff that if it was not organized in the same patterns that it would be color blocking but because of
Ah,
how it's organized it it, it has a relationship and
ah,
and and circles as you say like they're a big part of how we organize you know like in a ritual or in a dance without thinking we organize ourselves into a circle like
really?
that symbol is very important for us. It has to do with again this idea of like infinity
Okay,
like that's why like even for someone who's passed or someone who's dead we call it umufi, the one
okay.
who's living, umuntu. So the part that says umu
Mm-hmm.
means in the process of becoming.
Okay,
So even when you die, you're still given the dignity of being in the process of becoming.
okay. It's
So, but that's the
interesting.
cyclical thing. That's the cyclical thing that we give enough respect. So it's a kind of balance thing. We have that in cycles, but we also have it in triangles. If you think about the pyramids, it's about that balance, that
Mm-hmm.
equal. If you go from here to there, it's equal. There from it's about equality.
Yeah.
And Ornette Coleman called it homology,
Oh, I love him.
which yeah, his thing was really based on like how do we go into the music carrying equal responsibility. So not to say that the drummer keeps time, the pianist plays that, is going into it as equals. And that kind of context is very evident in our cultures. We call it Ubuntu, where the Ubuntu argues that like I am because you are, so that I cannot exist alone. I exist because I'm in the context of your own existence.
Oh,
So it goes further to say when I greet, I do not say hello, I say sanbona. And I do not say sawubona. Sawubona is singular, but sanbona is plural. So even if I was greeting you alone, I will say sanbona. We do not use the singular. What it means is that there's always an awareness of acknowledging you and your entire being, which is the ones that accompany you, whether it's your ancestors or whatever kind of presence that you might think of. But this kind of wholeness it speaks to the cycle, speaks to
ah,
that you will come again. So I acknowledge you and you're coming back and your past.
ah.
I acknowledge all of these things in this moment.
Wow. And
So
there
it's
is
in the greeting. It's unbelievable.
that's so interesting. And
Yeah.
there is that thing I was reading something in a science journal long ago. I think it was a science journal, something to do with science. But they were saying
Yeah.
that there was some theory about that memories can travel through. you could get memories from your ancestors, and they can travel through, like even traits of like being a great piano player can travel through, and
Yep.
you get it. So it's
That's
almost.
oh man. Wow. So Ubungoma is
Hmm.
exactly that. So
Ah,
when you get the gift of Ubungoma, like for me as a Sangoma, it's a gift that is inherited. It's passed on. So
okay,
it's more like a code, you know?
okay, that's
That's why
cool.
like there's a pianist called Begim Selegu. I don't know if you know him. If
No,
you don't, man, look him up. Like so he was this great piano player from South Africa that lived in London and
okay.
played with Pharoah Sanders, Joe Henderson, Elvin
Oh
Jones, Abby
wow,
Lincoln, and everybody.
wow.
He claimed that he woke up this one day and started playing, and he's a man. He's a genius.
Yeah,
He's late now. I wrote an entire thesis, a master's thesis on him that you can look up when you find time.
cool, man.
But
Send me
like,
that.
yeah, but the thing is, he says like one morning he just woke up and started playing.
Really?
Man, and if you hear he's playing, man, that's like it's so deep, man.
Wow.
And so I asked him the other time because he played the saxophone. I said, so how did you learn the saxophone? He said, oh man, I always loved it, and one day I just picked it up and played.
Wow. So he's just a
So
savant.
so there is a deeper memory. You know, there is this subtle being within every human being that keeps all this information, but because of the dissonance with the brain, because the brain wants to connect with what the eyes have seen, with
Mm-hmm.
what the ears have heard.
Mm-hmm.
And in this particular body, you've not heard all of these things or seen them. So the brain fights this consciousness. And when you are a child, you are more connected because like, you know, my child, when one of them, when he was young, he picked up all the sounds and he would say that's from India. And he was like as small as like 3 years. I was like, no, how do you know? You play something, say, oh, Brazilian.
Oh
I'm
wow.
like, but you don't know any, I've not touched anything about maps or sounds or anything. So, but then the more we say, wow, how did you know that? Then the more his conscience tells him, oh, I just made a mistake. You know what I
Oh, I
mean?
get
And
you.
until until we learn to not listen to that part and that part just dies and waits there, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
So, but there's a way of tapping into it, I think.
yeah.
And music is a tool for that.
For sure, for sure. You kind of do your music. You would you say it's healing as well as music?
Yeah. I think first and foremost, it's towards healing. Yeah.
And you became a healer at 10, 11, 12.
Yep. Yep. 10. So I always thought it was at 13, but my mother tells me that it was earlier.
Wow. And was it just something
Yeah.
you felt inside you, or was it just something natural to you, or was it?
It
it
came through a sequence of dreams that were pointing towards, um, pointing, because I would wake up and having seen some people in a dream, and I would tell my grandmother about who I've seen, and she would start asking about the features, their height, the complexion, how their
ah,
voices sounded. And as I explained, she would say, that's so and so, that's the other person. Oh, they were with this person. And these people, they died before I was even born. So then it started becoming evident that okay, well, and even my dreams at a very young age that like if something was gonna happen, you know, I would get like you know some level of like you know
premonition.
signals.
Hmm.
Yeah, yeah. So man, and of course, like at the time, I was coming from a Christian background, and like my mom would dismiss a lot of these things as
Okay.
superstition, as you know. So there, the conflicts of you know belief systems as well was a
Hmm.
problem earlier. But when I was independent and I was, you know, so I was able to just like confront this and say, you know, I have to do something about this, you know, and doing something about it is really what I'm doing to this day. I'm doing something about it.
That's cool, man. It's working. Hey, it's working.
I'm doing something about it,
It's
man.
definitely working. I actually found your music on it was New Year's Eve last year, And that's when I first heard you.
Oh,
And I remember I messaged you. I said, "Hey man, I just heard your music. It's cool."
yeah.
And I was like, "Whoa, this is cool, man." And I just happened to move back from Berlin, and your record had came out in April. And I was like, "Oh wow, I gotta
Yeah,
get that record. I
yeah.
gotta get that record." So beautiful record. I love it, man.
Oh man, I appreciate it, man. And like for me, it's so beautiful when the music can start a conversation.
Yeah,
It's like when it can go ahead of us
yeah,
and start giving us things to talk about. So
yeah,
like,
isn't it?
it's the most amazing thing to meet via the sound
That's it exactly. That's it
because
exactly.
the sound is so kind that we all find ourselves inside it.
Yeah.
If we have a way of walking in,
Hmm.
then all of these conversations are in essence happening inside the sound, I believe.
Yeah, and it's so weird
So thank
because
you for that,
oh
man.
man, it's beautiful. Thanks for the music.
Yeah,
It's so amazing in a weird way. Like I grew up in Ireland. You grew up in South Africa. We completely grew up
yeah,
in completely different things, but we
yeah.
almost are thinking in the same level. It's
We
mental,
are, man.
you know.
Like the stuff you're saying, I relate completely. It's like that's why I'm saying like inside the sound, everyone is equal. Inside the sound, everyone has a space, everyone has a voice.
Yeah,
Because the sound that we play and the music that we play and how we choose to play it is very loving as well. There's a sense, well, the music can be hard sometimes, but I think deep down there's a gentleness,
there's a
there's
hug. There's a nice hug.
exactly, there's a warm hug there
Yeah,
inside. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And
embrace it.
your wife is a beautiful singer. She sings on Yes,
She's
Sin
amazing,
Animo. Yeah,
man.
yeah, she's amazing.
Yes, yes. Oh man, she's amazing. So, and she does also on the other side on
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
album.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I watched
So
the live version you did of Beneath the Earth with your wife. It was amazing.
with NPR, isn't it?
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
man, it's beautiful.
Man, she's got a very like round voice and like, it's we met when we were students and I always wanted to play with her. I was
Ah,
just like, man, I want to play in your group.
nice.
So like graduating from playing in a group to having kids together,
Oh, that's
and
brilliant.
getting married and creating sounds together. So, I feel partly that's the bigger side of my blessings, to find someone that can, you know, understand the essence of what I'm doing, but also do it as well. So it's like, man, it's such a deep blessing for real.
Because it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to find someone you deeply connect with. It's not very easy.
Yeah. Yeah, no, 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 man. Especially for an artist, because it's like
Exactly.
it's a very strange world. It's not a calculated world, and we all know how humans like things that are calculated. And once things don't have the same, or when rationality is not portrayed in similar ways, people run away.
Yeah. And when you're making music, composing music, you have to be with someone who understands that you love her, but you also love music.
Man, you can love many things, and that's, I think you're nailing it right there, is understanding that, like, you know your heart is really in there. It's in the sound. Because then if we show up inside the sound, both of us, then even our love can happen inside the
Exactly.
sound. So then
Exactly.
it becomes it's a room where we just move into. There is this study, I started on it some time ago, but I stopped. It's called acoustemology.
Okay.
So it's a beautiful way they speak about, like, what lives inside the sound,
Ah.
and like the different spaces and what space has to offer in
Ah.
the context of sound. So it's interesting, but I think about it in another layer where, like, acoustemology is a lounge, is a space where we walk in and hang out. It's like, so I think of friendships as having a sense of room, like an acoustic,
I
you
get
know.
you. That's cool, man. It's a cool way of looking at it. That is cool.
Yeah, of course.
And there is like a
Yeah,
thing with frequencies. There's certain frequencies, like some people say, I think it's 428, maybe I'm wrong, that they're healing frequencies, like hertz wise. But I don't know how true
yeah.
that is. Because they're doing stuff with people
No, it's
where they're healing people with frequencies going into their kind of
of
like brain
course,
tumors and stuff like that. So
of course.
there is a lot of stuff we don't know about that we think we know about. But
Man, that's of course true. And here in Africa, there is a writer called Agao, Kofi Agao. He writes about part of the colonial project was to colonize tonality.
ah,
But then he starts saying that like, the first thing that when the colonizers came, they realized that, oh man, these people sing in a very strange frequency.
ah,
And in order for because they also then understood the relationship between these people and their frequency is healing. So in order for us to lessen that, like we need to colonize the tuning. So that then the arrival of the pianos, the organs and everything. And actually in some places in South Africa, they supplied each home with a piano.
wow,
Just no one was a pianist, but the reason was every time you play that, perception changes,
yeah,
until it goes to 440.
yeah,
But what I'm trying to say is that like our tuning natural of the universe even is lower than 440. It's
yeah,
around 420, like you say, 428.
yeah. And it,
So there's a lot to be said about like this tuning that we're using and the world going crazy
yeah,
because like we listen to sounds that are in a frequency that is aggressive.
and
See what I
a
mean?
lot of modern music. Not that I've anything against it. It's I just don't get any creativeness from. I mean, modern music would say chart music.
Sure.
There's just nothing in it for me that kind of. It's not trying to do anything clever or sophisticated. It's like
Yep.
McDonald's food of music.
Yep. No, but for sure, it's like I think the example of fast food you are spot on because it's created in a studio in seconds,
Yes,
and it's not like you say the creativity is on assembling existing ideas and producing a song, but whereas in the music before people had to master the instruments, people had to master singing.
exactly.
There was not so much technological manipulation. So if you play a nice piano line, you really had to know how to play it in real time and record it on tape. So these days, if you're hearing a piano line, you can map it with like,
Yeah, MIDI
just
it
like,
out.
yeah, MIDI it out. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
And push the tempo up and low and whatever. So there's a level of excellence that is lost, like virtuosity that is
oh yeah,
was important back then. It's no longer as important as it was.
no,
So if you don't have that virtuosity, it does not necessarily mean you can't have a good song because you can MIDI it out.
yeah. I just got deja vu there. Sorry. It'd have to
That's
happen.
okay.
It'd have to happen
Yeah,
talking to you. No one else is going to
of
happen with.
course. Of course, man.
I was like, my eyes were going for a minute. I was like, I think I just got deja vu. That's
But
hilarious.
of course,
Yeah,
bro. But
only
of
with you.
course.
Only with you.
But because I was saying to you, like we're here and we are elsewhere simultaneously.
That's cool, man. Actually, I meant to ask you. In your album cover, the bull or it's a bison or a
Yeah,
buffalo.
yeah,
What does that
yeah.
represent? Is that
It's a bull.
cosmic kind of
So,
entity or?
so, so when you think about like economics in Africa, especially within the Zulu context, whatever that was done, any form of transaction, they use cows. So, like, to determine how wealthy a person was because of the number of cows that they had,
Ah, okay.
right?
Yeah.
So this was before money,
Uh huh.
right? So it was like
Barter
if
system.
yeah, there we go. You got it. And then but also the cow is a very important symbol. You know, in some cultures it represents a god. You know, so the image of a bull, but also remember in ritual they use the cow to send the messages to the ancestors. Remember, like they speak and they slaughter, and then it's believed that in the bellowing of the bull, then the message goes.
Oh, okay.
So that is important because if a bull does not make a sound during a slaughter, then that ritual ends there and no one eats that because it's believed that the ancestors did not. That's not the one they were looking for.
Oh,
Over and above, like when a ritual is done, they put some bracelets made of uh, cow skin.
right.
It's called dispandla. That's a representation of the ritual.
Ah,
But also the cow horns are used in a home to indicate that a particular ritual has been done because it's believed that the ancestors will come at night and check.
really?
So it's a lot of things, but also a lot of the Zulu clothing is made out of cow skin.
Ah,
So you know, like the cow is an entire thing,
it's so
you know.
interesting though.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
and Zulus, they sung so much that sometimes they would get attacked, wouldn't they? They'd be singing so loud that the people who were attacking them would
Yes.
hear them.
Yeah, that's the thing. When they were fighting with the, was it the British, I think? And, you know, so like,
Yeah.
because they love to sing, so
Yeah.
that's, they could already know where they are. But another part, a flip part of it is that I think it was it must have been the Dutch that were attacking and they got so frightened by the singing because it was so deep, because sometimes
Ah.
it's really singing deep.
Oh.
And these guys already, just from the singing, they ran away. They fled off. It's
No
like,
way.
man, the power in the singing,
Yeah.
because everything for us is done through song. So
Ah.
even to gain strength to go to war or whatever, it is through the song.
Wow. It's amazing Zulu history because it started off as like 150 people and then it was thousands,
It's
200,000
man,
maybe.
it's deep, man.
It's
It's
cr-
very very deep.
it's crazy.
You know, I'm thankful to be part of that history.
Yeah.
There's just so much that is within that culture that I'm still trying to unpack for myself and get to understand and transpose to now, because that's another thing. These stories happened so many years ago. We always have to find a way of packaging and transposing to this moment so
And they
it
didn't
makes
and they
sense.
didn't record much of it, so it's kind of passed down more than was.
Oral tradition.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oral.
So you're kind of trying to
Oral.
find what's the truth within the stories.
Exactly. Exactly. And there are so many versions of the stories.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also it's impossible to hear the story the same time, same way, because like all of these Africans are improvisers anyway. So, you know, I remember my grandmother when she would tell a story, and if we excited about a particular section, she would expand it, and I would realize, no, 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 this was not what she had in her mind. But just because we love this section so much, she would say, then came another guy, then came this other, and then they were all like, okay, yeah, I see it.
Sounds like Irish people.
Well, there could be similarities.
Hey, well, the British colonized us, so
We are like with the post British colonial
yeah,
zones, isn't it?
yeah, man. Like they took over everywhere. Jesus, you know,
These guys, man.
like
They're unbelievable. Unbelievable.
I was living in Berlin. I went into this. It was like an a kind of small place, but I didn't know it was like an African kind of district, and
Yep.
I go in to eat food, and there's a guy in there. He's from Gambia, sorry. And he's like, "Are you British?" And I was like, "No, I'm Irish." He's like, "Oh, that's cool." he's like, he's like, "Sit down," and we sat down and we talked about Fela Kuti, and yeah, it was cool.
That was a good question. That was a good
Yeah,
question.
yeah. Anyone that's listened to this that's English is like, come on.
Man, it's love. You
It's
know, we're
all,
just speaking the truth,
yeah.
you know.
It's all love. It's all love.
Yeah, we're just speaking the truth, man.
Have you ever been to Ireland?
No, man, not yet.
Oh, you'd love it,
Not
man.
yet. Man, yeah, I've had friends. I used to have a friend that was in Switzerland, and they moved there. So,
Oh, hey,
I've been
if you ever
saying,
come,
yeah.
you have a place to stay. You can crash in my place.
Oh
No
man,
worries, man.
bro, I'll keep your word for it,
No
bro.
worries. No
Yeah,
worries.
yeah,
It's all
yeah,
good,
man.
you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Are you working on a lot of new music?
So I am, man. That's another thing about this lockdown because I never stop playing.
Yeah, yeah.
Like, on my socials, I was playing a gig almost
Yeah,
every
yeah, I
weekend,
was
and
looking
people were
at
like,
that,
"Are,
man.
are you crazy?" So, like, so in that process, I wrote a lot of music, and I'm already thinking of being in studio maybe in January.
Brilliant.
We have to figure out Omakugu's album because she wants to put out an album first,
Oh, cool.
then yeah, but like, soon after that, I have to be thinking about the record label has already asked me when am I recording. So,
People, I've been showing your album to a load of people. Everyone's digging it.
oh man,
Everyone's
big
digging.
love, bro.
Yeah, I showed.
I think you're gonna love the next one even more.
Really, really cool. Have you got a? Is it going to be a concept as well?
Yeah, so I've been thinking about this idea of the children of the sun.
Ah,
So in Zulu, it's called Abantwana Belanga, because the whole idea of the sun god, Sun Ra,
Sunra, right.
and so just because all of my work has been thinking about elsewhere, so now I'm trying to point towards where this elsewhere is. So if there is a
Ah,
letter from the underworld, but where is this, like, location? So on this one, I'm like more deliberate about location, but also I'm putting out a video for Umlota in a
brilliant.
couple of
Oh,
weeks.
brilliant.
So like, we explored elsewhere. So when I called the video guy, my first question to him was like, "Yo, bro, do you think you can create a planet?"
It's a good first question.
And the guy said no. Then I said, "Okay, cool." Then I picked up the phone. I said, "Yo, bro, can you create a planet?" And the guy's like, "It depends, man. But like, we don't need a planet. There are so many beautiful locations in South Africa." I was like, "Okay, cool, bro. Hang up." I picked up the phone. "Bro, can you create a planet?" The guy said, "Oh man, I just got goosebumps." I said, "You the dude."
Yeah, you're the guy. That's amazing.
And needless to say, we've created not just one planet, a couple. So you'll
Oh,
see it on the
wow.
video.
Cool, man.
Because I was like, man, I need to be elsewhere.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool. Actually,
you're gonna love it.
I can't actually wait for it.
You're gonna
I'm
love it, bro.
I'm so glad I found your music. It's brilliant.
Oh man. And man, like South Africa, there's a lot of beautiful stuff, that
Yeah.
we've been doing, and yeah.
It's not advertised enough over here. You know what I mean? It's
No.
always American stuff, and it's like, like I love American
And I,
jazz,
I think,
but
I think, like, you know, the Blue Note thing really helped
oh,
because then it's
definitely,
like, although I'm in South Africa, it's via
definitely,
the US.
definitely.
So like so many people have like now learned about the music, then they go back. It's like, oh man, so many records, and then they start learning about the other stuff.
That's how I found you because I buy Blue Note records all the time, and I'm on their Instagram, and your song came up. I was like, oh, this is cool, man. So it was like Blue Note, and it's legitimacy. When you're on Blue Note, it gives you
Yeah,
that really
yeah,
kind of good. People
yeah, I
go,
get you.
they know it's going to be
I
good.
get you.
You know.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, of course, quality is like a thing that they've stood for many years.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
I could go
yeah.
and buy a Blue Note record and never heard it, and I know I'm going to
Of
love it.
course. It's like ECM, you
Hmm.
just picked it up. You,
Hmm.
you just pick up an ECM record and go home. Like,
Yeah, yeah, that's
you don't
it.
even have to know the artist,
No,
It's just
no,
like,
no. There's
mm,
actually the record I've been making for a few years. It's about a dream, so it's all about a dream. But there's one song in it called Oniranaut, which is a word that means
Onirinor.
yeah, onirinaut. It means a guy who travels within dreams. It's like an astronaut in dreams.
Oh
It's a
man.
cool word.
Man, that's my kind of vibe, bro. Oh man.
But I love that
You know,
word.
oh man, I spoke about songs that travel. I think I wrote something like that. Songs that travel. Yeah, man. So, oh man, I wanna check out this astronaut guy, man.
Yeah, man. Jeez.
Oh man, blessings to you,
This
bro.
this has been
This is
this has been a brilliant
Thank
chat,
you,
man.
brother.
This has been
Oh
great.
man, I appreciate it, bro. I can't wait for you to put it out,
Oh
and
man, I've been doing it too long. I've been doing too long, man. Taking too long.
it's gonna be beautiful,
Oh,
man.
hopefully.
And once it's out, then I'm gonna tell Bruno to
Oh
find it, and
man,
maybe circulate it.
man,
Yeah,
that is so amazing.
because it's like a very lengthy interview, and we get in depth with a lot of things. So if they can share it,
Oh
even
man,
better.
that's so beautiful.
Yeah,
Thank you so
yeah,
much,
man.
man.
Of course, bro. Of
We
course,
should do
bro.
a song together. Something about colors.
Man, we should do a song, bro. We
That'd be
should do a
cool.
song.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, man. Yeah, yeah.
Send each other some ideas and we can check out.
So, man, when you have an idea, just really send it, man.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. That'd be
You
great.
really send it, and then we see where we go, man.
Yeah, get a concept and
Yeah.
just do something crazy and cosmic and amazing.
Cosmic, bro. That's the key word.
Cosmic.
Man, can you play a planet?
Just tell me the color of it.
I love that. Tell me the color.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it, man.
Well, Nduduzo, this has been an amazing chat. I'm
Blessings,
so I just want to. You're a beautiful soul. I had a great time
Oh
talking.
man, much love, bro. Much
Defo,
love,
man.
man.
Defo, man.
And hopefully, man, like we get to do more.
Yeah,
like,
man. Yeah, man.
Music conversations,
Defo.
planets, colors,
Defo.
Yeah,
Parallel
man.
universes.
Parallel universes, bro. Ingoma.
Oh, this is brilliant, man. Thank you so much for doing this. Thank you
Give
so
thanks,
much.
bro. Enjoy the rest
I
of your
enjoyed this
evening,
so
man.
much. We'll be in touch, brother.
Blessings, bro.
You
Much
too.
love.
Cheers, bro.
Give
Cheers, bro.
thanks. Peace.
See ya.